I'm Nate Eaton here with East Idaho News, and we are talking with two men closely associated with Kyani. Carl Taylor here is the founder of the company, and we have Travis Garza, who is the president of Kyani. Obviously, a whirlwind of a week for you all, and we extend our condolences. First question is, how's everybody doing?
Well, you know, it's as anyone can imagine, it's nothing that you could ever expect. If you're a mother, a father, or a son or daughter, you can almost, it's incomprehensible what has happened, and so the emotions are very, very high still at this point, and everybody is dealing with those emotions in different ways, but it's been very, very difficult.
Carl, you founded the company with the brothers, the Hanson brothers. Has it set in?
Finally, it's starting to get to where the grief isn't overwhelming. Easy to become emotional, but yes, they were like brothers to me, and I love them and their families just like they're my own family. A lifelong association with the whole family, and it's a terrible loss, and yes, a lot of heartfelt feelings for those who are really touched by this tragedy.
Which seems to be so many people. Everybody I've talked to over the past few days has a story about the Hansons, about Kyani, about Conrad and Bischoff, KJ something. How did you all learn the news on Saturday?
I was actually with my family. Earlier that morning, I had a phone conversation with Kirk. There wasn't a day that we didn't have a conversation, and early that morning, 6:30 in the morning, I was on a call with Kirk, and we were talking about ideas and new ways that the company could grow and how we could help other people around the world. That's our daily communication. And I received a call on Saturday afternoon, and that there was news that a plane had gone down, and I immediately started to call around and found out that the family had gathered, and we gathered, and we waited for the news. And it was very difficult at the time, and I think all of us were praying and hoping that we would hear the news that everybody had survived, and unfortunately, you know, we heard the news, and it was very tough to take. Very tough to take.
Carl?
I was out of town, probably about an hour and a half from town, and started getting phone calls similar to what Travis had heard of. Probably something is really wrong, so I headed back towards home, and through the course of that hour drive, a lot more phone calls, a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation, but by the time I got home, I had a confirmation of what had happened, and then just try to deal with it.
I bet. And there's the personal aspect, because you guys knew these men and their families as friends and probably family, but then there's the business aspect too. How is the business doing? You know, what are the plans going forward for Kyani?
Well, the great thing about, in my role as the president, you know, one of the things that the founders, Carl and Kirk and Jim, have done, and we continue to do, is we were constantly working on the strategy of how the company is going to move forward. We truly believe that we have products that can help people really improve their lives. We've seen it for 12, 13 years now, and we're continuing that trend. For us, and as we've met as founders and in my role, it is key for us to keep driving forward with innovation, with quality, with results. We believe that in doing so, we will always be looking for the better good of the business. We share this constantly with our employees. We're sharing this with our business partners around the world. We're in 60 countries. And so we have to keep moving forward as Jim and Kirk and Carl would want it. I know that for certain that they would want us to move forward, and we have to. The employees know that. Our members around the world know that, and that's what we plan to do. It is a very difficult time, but I believe this adversity has actually brought us together more than I've ever seen. And the community support, the prayers, the love, it's been truly remarkable for us to see. And so we're going to continue forward with that strategy, and nothing's changed on that side as far as that goes.
You know, it's interesting. Jim and Kirk were excellent businessmen, and we lost some great family men, some great families. And that's probably more my focus as I see them as the wonderful human beings that they were, with so many great, great qualities. But one of those was being great businessmen. And in our meetings together running the business, and Kirk was the man to run it, we'd had the discussion about being prepared for any catastrophe or any crisis, never dreaming this would be what it was. But as part of that strategy was to build the best team we could that would go on indefinitely. And I don't know if it's a coincidence or just good luck. In spite of this tragedy, we brought Travis on board to really help Kirk in the ways that Kirk thought and we thought he could use help. And Travis has been there in a position long enough that he knows what our business is like. So as Kirk is not there now, our business has really benefited from having Travis there in a position to continue to lead. And I want to reinforce what Travis said. I was really caught up when I started thinking about the negative things that would happen in business. But that strong human nature and will has really helped me to understand the positive thing that I've seen in so many of our business partners and from thousands of people that we've been in contact with. That resolve to continue to do good, that resolve to work together as a company, family, and as a team has reinvigorated a lot of people. And it's probably in honor of Jim and Kirk and everything they stood for and their families, but many positive things are happening after the tragedy.
And Travis, you've been here 4 months.
Yes.
So, like as you mentioned, coincidence, good luck, whatever, 4 months to be the president.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I have known the Hansons, Jim Hanson particularly, and his family for over 20 years. And we had talked about working together, but it never came to fruition. And this last fall, we made it all come together. And I don't know if you believe in divine inspiration.
I know 2 people who did.
And, but it just, we connected on all the things that we needed to move forward with, and to know the position we're in now, we have a lot of work ahead of us. Any business does. You know, I think of the families that were impacted, not just Jim and Kirk, but these families that were impacted. We have, our prayers are going to go out for them, and we're going to be there for them. But for the business side, there's no question the strategy that we have in place, the things that we've already implemented, and how we're moving forward for the years 2020, how we finish this year and go into 2020 and the years ahead. We want to be a household name, and we believe the products and the company that we are providing for the community is going to be world class, and that's what our goals are.
A lot of people may not know that you are in 60 countries, as you mentioned. And before we went on with this taping, you were saying you were on the phone for hours the other night, calling people around the world, telling them the news and whatnot. What has been the reaction of your business partners?
Well, you know, Carl and I, you know, when we heard the news on Saturday night, we were on the phone together, and Carl is such a wise man and giving instruction on from a founder on what we needed to do. We immediately got into action to communicate with our business partners and our staff around the world in 60 countries. So Saturday night we began, Sunday from early morning till late in the early hours of Monday morning. We were on the phones talking with our staff and our members around the world. And the support from them is sorrow. Very sad, and they're concerned for the families. But it was interesting, as we started to have these calls, we started to feel this energy of camaraderie, of working together, and the messages started to turn in like, what can we do? How do we do this? How do we share with other people about what we're going to do? And it has been unbelievably remarkable about what we've experienced.
A lot of people have shared stories about Jim and Kirk and Jim Sr. Do you have maybe one fond memory with each of them or with one of them that you wouldn't mind sharing? I'm sure you have a bazillion of them, but...
I have a lot of them. And you know, this isn't the question you answered, but their legacy, and there's the Nailers, the Dennerts, Longs. I mean, they raised some wonderful families. And I miss Jim and Kirk, but I love the rest of their families, their wives, amazing, amazing women, strong women, have been very active and been very influential in our company and the community in so many ways. And I guess I see that as kind of a tribute and a legacy to Jim Sr., Jim Jr., and Kirk, of the things that really truly matter in life, that they have made these relationships and brought these families together and trained them to be such wonderful people. And how unfortunate that there's so many widows and orphans now that are not orphans, but children without fathers now that need love and support.
You know, one of the things that we have a tremendous amount of stories about who they were and what they represented. I can't tell you how many people in just a short period of time have told me the unconditional love that they have had for people outside of the business. I've heard over and over and over of people like, they helped me win. They provided support when, that I never knew about. And I don't know if you know, it's amazing to see what these gentlemen have done, all have done, these founders have done for people around the community just to give back to help when people were in need. And that's what you want. That's what you want in owners, that's what you want in good business people. A lot of people will look at their business acumen to say, well, they had a lot of money, they did all of this. It's the other side that makes them so special. And when you hear these stories of them helping people that were in need, those stories will always forever be in my heart of who they were and representative of Kyani. Our mission at Kyani is to give hope, to help people live better lives through wellness and opportunity. And hope is a big word, and I think that's what Jim and Kirk and these families have given us right now to say, move forward, keep going forward, and that's what we're planning to do at Kyani.
Probably some of my favorite stories are when I've been with them in some tough places in the world on charitable events and just watch them bring their kids and get down and dirty and perform acts of service. And they don't want anybody to know about it, but they truly love doing it.
Well, thank you both so much. So many people praying for you all and for the families, the Hansen families, and I imagine in the coming days we'll learn funeral information. A lot of people have been asking about that. And as you mentioned, or the family mentioned in the statement the other day, in lieu of flowers, they're asking for donations to go to the Kyani, is it the Kyani Foundation?
Yeah, well, it's a Caring Hands, and the company has been involved with the Caring Hands. Carl can talk a little bit more about this, but it's a great foundation to help those in need, and it's been in place for years and years. Do you want to share a little bit more about that?
Yes, our business partners participate in it, and we get the opportunity to go and do good things in a lot of different places. We've been in South America, Central America, Asia, Europe, Africa, doing projects mainly dealing with children, feeding kids, schools, wells, those kind of things. But the donations to Caring Hands, that's primarily we've opened that up because so many of our business partners have asked, what can we do? So that's what the Kyani business partners are showing their support.
And for those people interested, there is a GoFundMe that has been set up, one official GoFundMe. There may be some fraudulent ones out there. Don't donate to those. There is the one official GoFundMe that will go toward the younger families, not Rebecca, not Leanne, not the older families, but these will go to the younger families, the survivors of those who passed away. We have a link to that GoFundMe down below. Again, that is the only official GoFundMe that you want to use. So thank you both so much. Travis Garza, he is the president of Kyani, and Carl Taylor, he is one of the founders along with Jim and Kirk Hansen.